Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to call to order the Ford County Commission meeting for February 6th, 2023. The meeting number will be 2023-05. I'm going to open the meeting with a prayer by Pastor Kirk Larson, followed by a pledge of allegiance. I'd like to ask everybody here to keep our Commissioner Snook and his family in your prayers. I'll let him elaborate on that if he wants to, but if you would, please. Thank you. Pastor.
Father, thank you for the wonderful day you've given to us. Thank you for another day of life that we have through Christ Jesus. I pray, Lord, for the Commissioners meeting today. I pray that you would guide and direct each one that is here and those that are sharing things that the Commissioners will be hearing. Give them wisdom and guidance as they make decisions that will affect Ford County. Thank you for each of their lives, and I pray you would minister grace and comfort to them. I pray for their families. I pray for Ken today, Lord, and the loss of his wife. I pray you minister your grace to him and comfort him through your love and hold him, embrace him and his family through her loss, and we pray that you would be strong on his behalf. Father, I do also pray that you continue to be prayerful and mindful and minister to those that were a part of through the Ford County and Clark County Sheriff's Departments. I pray that you would minister to each one of those. And we pray for complete healing and restoration of those deputies that were involved and injured. I pray that you be with their families. And we thank you, Lord, for law enforcement. Thank you for what they do at a moment's notice at all times of the day. Thank you for their work, and I pray that you would put your hedge of protection and guard and keep them safe from further injury, and bless them for what they do in our county and this area of the country. Father, we do thank you for this day, and we ask that you would be with each one here, that they give reports and give plans and ideas that they have on their hearts today. Help them to express those with clarity. I pray that you also be with Debbie, and thank you for her work here in the county. Thank you also for JD and his insight, guiding us through financial matters and things importance. Again, Lord, thank you for all that's done today. We pray that it all would be to your glory, to your praise. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, guys.
Have a healthy day.
All right, first order of business is I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to include an executive session. We'll put that at the end of the meeting. My motion is that the board recess into executive session to discuss the contracts with Decker pursuant to the attorney-client privilege exceptions to the Kansas Open Meetings Act, KSA 15-4319B2. This open meeting to resume in this location. Well, I guess we don't need that right now. This is still just the amendment. So I'd make the motion to amend the agenda for the executive session.
I'll second that.
With the motion second, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and moving into our agenda, we have first our consent agenda. Approval of the minutes of the meetings 2023-02 and 03. We have a credit card statement. We have additions and abatements. We have a school health and nursing services contract between Ford County and USD 381. We have one cereal malt beverage license and 2 cereal malt beverage applications. Looks as though our additions and abatements are pretty sizable. Talk to us about that, Patty.
We've got several PUPs. They were people coming in and signing, and then we have one PUP was a oil and gas, which there's enough board hearings on it that allow them, when we do entire year, and that's what the tax bill goes out on. And when they protest the taxes, we can now look at those 3 years that we didn't look at before. And it can show a decline in the oil rates, et cetera. And that's what happened here. Why the legislation allows that, because we can't look at it. The representatives can bring it in, and they've won at the board level. So that's what this was, that they had a decline. And we called numerous counties to see, and they said, you're wasting your money going to the board because you're going to lose. So that's the reason we did it at this level and got it done, because we could go there and hire a tax attorney and all that expense.
So
we
I'm
liked
wondering what it would take for you guys to be able to go back and look at those years when you're doing your initial appraisal.
And that's what we
so that
do.
we don't have to go through this process.
Yes, typically, we have new people retire, and the prior one would actually call, and it was partially my fault, we should have been on top of it, but we have a lot of people moving, you know, and we will call, this is a tax rep for, that's what he does across the state. Typically, we call and say, hey, you got any, is anybody contacting you for appeals, so we can get them worked out before the tax bills go out, before I send everything to Debbie. This one slipped, or maybe he just didn't know until they got their tax bills. A lot of them won't even do anything until they get their tax bills. Then all of a sudden, they want to pay the money out, then they're calling us and saying, hey, what can we do? This is the information we've got, so.
Okay.
So yes, I told her from now on, once this one tax rep calls in, you get with him on all of them that he does and see if there's any more information he has prior to me sending all their information to Debbie for the tax bills. So it'd be before October, so then we work them and so forth at that time. So yeah, it's a lot, yes. And then the other one is a tax exemption. They are really behind at the board. We mailed this one in September, and we just got it. We have one for the county I mailed in September, we haven't even got it yet. For the 1 year of Gunsmoke, we haven't got it back yet. So that's the big one there. That's the real estate one. That's the big one. So, and I didn't know if it would because it's a municipality, but it was also renting out to a school. So I couldn't guarantee it would be exempt. I didn't know. I never know what the board's gonna do. You know, both entities are exempt, but they're using it for different things that they grant it. So that's what the very large one is.
Okay. I think that's all I got.
Okay.
The only question I have on this one is, the Dyson Raceway Park. I mean, we have Gwen Fetters as the person, and the person, right, but why would it be in his name if he's the one that got the contract?
I don't know, he has a liquor license also, and I don't.
And he can't have more than one? Is that the case?
It might be, because he does own a restaurant somewhere that has a liquor license.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
She would know, she's relative to the guy that's got the deal at the restaurant and beer joint and jet joint.
okay.
She knows, ask her.
Well, I guess my only thought on that is the city understands that this is how we're going about the liquor license for the park. It's probably contracted in his name, probably not her name. Maybe it's contracted both, I don't know.
And I don't know if she might be running concessions, and maybe that's how they're getting, putting in her name.
Got it. Okay.
There.
Okay.
Does that clear up the question about?
I think so. I mean, I think it.
Contract part of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously whoever we approve for the application is the person that's in charge and ultimately in charge of that, but it would be interesting because she isn't the named contract person that we awarded the contract to. Other contract. Just layering contracts on top of each other. I think I'm still okay approving it, I just think it's probably something run by city. Make sure they're okay with how this comes out.
And if they're not, I guess it comes back when we.
Yeah.
Redo it, big deal when we do it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I second
Have a motion and second, any further discussion? Call a vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, next we have approval of claims for payment in the amount of $1,039,017.50.
We had some bond payments this time.
Okay. Make a motion to approve the claims for payment as presented.
it. I second it.
Motion and second, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we have open public comment. We limit that to 5 minutes per individual and 15 minutes per topic, with final action to be deferred until the next county commission meeting unless an emergency situation exists. We have anybody for open public comment?
Yes, sir, I have something to say, Mr. Chairman. I want to tell you, young lady, that all the people in Young Guns that I know, and I know clear up the ladder, one of them we helped raise, and he told me you were doing a fantastic job. So whatever you do, keep doing the same thing you're doing. And I've already told Dee this, and it's okay, but you need to have it here so it comes out for you.
I have a good team and we're having a lot of fun.
Well, thank you, Pat,
So I
very
appreciate
much.
that.
But the people in Young Guns, thank you a lot.
They're fun.
Okay, I'm done.
Pat, I wasn't gonna say anything to you because I don't want you to feel too confident.
That, I'm just gonna hang on to that, you know, when things go a little haywire, like, you know, broken faucets and stuff.
Well, you gotta hurry up if it's gonna happen, because the end of this month is over for next year, till next year.
I know.
That's all I got to say.
Anybody else for open public comment? I would like to take a quick moment to, this is our first meeting back since an incident that happened here in the county regarding some of the sheriff's gentlemen, really all of ours, part of the family, okay? So we as a society draw a line in the sand to define what is acceptable, what keeps us a civilized society and what does not. And a couple of weeks ago had to have a couple of our officers and a couple others stand that line for us. And you know, we acknowledge that the check that you guys write and hope we never have to cash, but they stood the line for us, and I very much appreciate. I wanted to take the opportunity to tell you from all of us how much we appreciate what you guys do every day, even though you don't get to hear it from us.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
And if you'll pass that along to those gentlemen, and I'm sure it comes from each of us sitting here.
Thank you.
And I too am hopeful for their full recovery, and all their co-workers, our guys out there at communications, everybody that was a part of that in such a intimate way during that time. We're praying for each and every one of you's recovery through that.
Thank you. I second that deal too. That's quite a feat.
Lot to it.
I think it's amazing that where it started and where it ended. I mean, just the alertness that we have in this community is impressive.
All right, we have nothing else for open public comment. We will move on to, we have no unfinished business here right now, so legal counsel is next. Lynn, thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. We have several items to discuss this afternoon. First of all, every 4 years, district coroner is appointed by the this board for the 16th Judicial District. And it has been 4 years since Dr. Moffitt was last appointed to serve as district coroner. So we have before you a resolution number 2023-07. That resolution reappoints Dr. Moffitt for a 4-year term beginning in January. That's when his last term ended, for the next 4 years. Other than dates, the other change is that in the prior 4 years, Dr. Moffitt had a $2,500 monthly salary. This increases that monthly salary to $3,000.
And that increase does not affect the budget we had. This goes back to many years ago. We had an extra, I don't know if you guys remember the detail, I don't want to get too far into it, but originally we weren't sure how much the autopsies were gonna cost at the very beginning. And so we set aside extra money for that. And they haven't touched that money because the autopsies haven't gone past the threshold. So there is an increase to his contract, but that does not increase the tax. We have not had to increase the tax, but we still had an extra line item ready for that. And then probably after this contract, it'll probably have to go up though. Unless there's a major change on the autopsies because they get sent to Kansas City.
I make a motion to adopt resolution 2023-07, appointing Dr. Moffitt the district coroner for the 16th Judicial District of the state of Kansas pursuant to KSA 22A-226.
I'll second that.
Motion and second. Any discussion?
I want to know if Dr. Moffitt is now living in Ashland, in a house down there. He's moved his business to Mineola, and that's in Clark County. What is the deal? You gotta tell me.
Well, I was reading the resolution appointing him, and it actually says for the role, they just have to live in the state of Kansas, not within the district, because I was thinking the same way.
Well, he is in the judicial district.
Clark
He's
is?
living in Ashland, yes.
Okay.
Because the 16th Judicial District includes Clark County.
Okay.
But, yeah, it doesn't have, the residency requirement is the state of Kansas, then you have to be licensed to practice medicine in the
In
state of
Kansas, yeah.
But he is still in the judicial district.
That's not a requirement though.
It's not a requirement.
All right. Any other questions?
I don't have any more questions.
All right, I'll call a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, then with the resolution adopted, we have a written agreement with Dr. Moffitt, again, for his services over the next 4 years. It's been a practice to have a separate contract with him for those services, and so that's before you this afternoon.
Make a motion to approve the contract for the district coroner.
I second it.
Motion and second. Further questions? Ben, can you explain that, why we gotta have a separate contract for the
It
residents?
states his pay, right?
Yeah, well, and it's been our practice to have a separate agreement with him in follow-up to the resolution. It's just been our practice to have that as an independent contractor with Fort County and actually the judicial district.
Okay, well,
It's actually
he's
him
not
kind of
an employee.
accepting.
He's not an employee of the county, he is a contractor.
Correct.
Okay.
The resolution appoints him, the agreement is where he agrees to serve as the district coroner.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
glad there's not a step 3.
We could create.
Any further questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Angela, come up here.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Angela.
Hello.
We have before you a consulting agreement with Dr. R.C. Trotter. And Dr. Trotter would serve as a consultant to the public health officer, who's Angela. Just to give you a little bit of history, we haven't had a current contract with Dr. Trotter since 2004. So 18 years ago. And at that time, he was appointed as the public health officer at a rate of compensation of $44,550. He's still important to the health department. I'll let Angela address that in terms of what he does for the health department and the importance of having him on board in a consulting position.
Yes, Dr. Trotter, he basically, he signs off on all of our standing orders and policies and procedures, you know, on how everything from how we do immunizations to how we treat anaphylaxis if it happens to just every aspect of the operation of the health department and all of the programs. He's also available to us if we, you know, need to call him. If we have somebody come in the office and we're not for sure about something, we can always call him. He's always been very good about that. Emails, weekends, evenings, you know, he's always accessible, so.
One other point with Angela is the local health officer, because she does not have a medical degree.
Right,
Since she doesn't have that, it's required to have a consultant with a medical degree to advise the local health officer. So it's necessary to have a doctor appointed to do that consulting for the local health officer.
She does a very good job for just not having a degree in medicine. I tell you that right now, that all the shots that I've got out there, taking blood and shipping it off, unbelievable.
She didn't tell me she didn't have a medical degree after she gave me my shot.
I didn't tell
Well,
you
you
to
know
do
one
surgery
thing about
either,
it,
but.
they should have shot you in your behind.
She did. Good. No, she does a great job.
Come out, I can run you through the chute and do the same thing.
Good to know.
Will be just a little pressure, hold on.
Angela, is the requirement to be a doctor, or is a nurse practitioner, or any, I know some of that stuff has changed as far as through the legislature here this past year, that a nurse practitioner doesn't have to have the same oversight that they used to have. And I didn't know if they qualified for this kind of a role then too, or not.
My
Not to say
knowledge,
that
it
we
needs to
need
be a
change it.
medical doctor.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Like as Dr. Moffitt is.
Right.
Kind of that type of qualifications there.
Okay,
Yes.
I knew with some of those changes, that there were some of those changes, I didn't know whether any of that applied to us or not, so.
Yeah, and it's also based on the population size of your county as to
Really?
different requirements
Okay.
that you need to have.
I'd make a motion to approve the consulting agreement between Ford County and Dr. Trotter.
I second it.
Motion second, any further questions, discussion? Call a vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Angela.
Thank you.
item is Resolution 2023-08. For a number of years, the county has had and authorized the use of credit cards. And this resolution is simply an update. The prior resolution didn't have Courtney Sotero listed as the Fort County Treasurer. And so Courtney and Debbie Cox are people who deal with the credit card and are authorized to deal with the credit card accounts. And so this resolution simply reflects Courtney as being authorized to do that along with Debbie. There are no other changes to the resolution, from the prior resolution.
All right, I'd make a motion to adopt resolution 2023-08 as presented.
I second it.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. That's all that I have.
Thank you. That brings us to the county administrator's report.
Gentlemen, the first three items on the admin report are for County Engineer John Hoppenbox.
Go ahead and get this stuff off the desk before I run up there.
Yes. Don't mind you to steal one of my paper clips. That's not mine.
Freebie for me.
I only take my.
Lucky day.
Now he's gonna charge us for that paper clip.
Okay.
It belongs to me.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. The first item on the agenda that I'm going to cover is an invoice from the Kansas Department of Transportation for the county share of the funding for roadway improvements that will be constructed this year on 112 roads and Outlaw Road. We've been talking about this project for quite some time. The project did go to bid in December and was awarded to Cost Construction out of Topeka to go to construction. So the contract for the funding was 80% state funds, 20% county funds, with the caveat that KDOT would only participate up to a maximum of $8,800,000. The actual bid from costs came in at $9,574,383. Then there's other costs recapped on this table. I won't get into all the details. But for KDOT's total tabulated project cost, and this is an estimated cost, as there some of the bid items could change throughout the course of construction. There could be changes, additions, and subtractions both. KDOT will pay for inspection during construction of the project, things like that, so those costs will not be determined finally until the project is completed and closed out on the books. So this is an estimated cost, and my understanding is once the project is completed, KDOT will do a final audit and either pay the county some money back, or the county would owe KDOT some additional money when it's all said and done. The total project cost is estimated at $11,506,205. KDOT is putting forth a maximum of $8,800,000. KDOT is giving credit to the county for the cost of the survey, an amount of $146,500. And so the estimated cost contribution from the Ford County to KDOT for the project is $2,560,000. JD, are we asking a motion to approve this expenditure? Is that where we're at? And this would come out of the bond that was approved, correct? Previously by the county. And talked with JD, so there was ample funding in that bond to cover this cost and then extend it some.
John, on here, what does the word CE mean?
Construction engineering, basically that's a fancy term for inspection and materials testing during construction.
Okay.
I might also mention that KDOT has a partner project with this. That's the intersection of 283 and 56 highway, which is proposed to be a roundabout. That's separate from this money. KDOT took that project upon themselves for 100% KDOT cost. So this truly is just for the 112 and Outlaw Road portion of the project.
Have we been paid back for that roundabout study? Because we did that for the.
That would be the, was that part of the agreement with KDOT for the traffic impact study to be part of the reimbursement cost?
I believe so, yeah.
Is that what the
I'll
less
call you back.
amount contributed by LPA services is?
Bye.
I believe so.
The very bottom?
That one, I believe it's just for the surveying itself.
Just for-
For the design of the project. We could do some checking on that.
I hate them roundabouts.
Let's not pay it.
Pardon?
Let's not pay it. This doesn't have
I'm
anything to do with
voting
the
yes, and I
roundabout.
can tell you that right now, I hate them roundabouts.
Well, this doesn't have anything to do with the roundabout.
That,
No, that's the state.
well, so we just,
This is our L.
This is for the improvements on the township roads, 112 and Outlaw. The roundabouts are totally separate.
Totally different.
Project. So pay this or not, the roundabouts are coming.
Yeah.
Sorry.
everywhere I travel, there are roundabouts are.
You get your practice then.
Sometimes I scare the poop out of people with me.
It's getting good.
So, yeah, we can verify if the
I
LPA.
suppose that was a K-State graduate to come up with that
Roundabouts, it might have been, I don't know. They came from back east.
thing. You know that KU would never do something like
I
this.
think it originated in Europe, to be honest with you.
All right.
It might have been a K-State person that went to Europe. Smart
Big
person.
Parliament.
That's the end of my garbage.
So would you like clarification on the credit amount before you approve it? Or approve the going forward with payment, or what's the county's commissioner's thought on that?
Well, we can always fix that. I mean, I just want to make sure that we are getting that back. I did, the nice Hillmark cheese groundbreaking where I got to listen to the governor spiel about how she did everything, regardless how you feel in the room about her. I mean, she still had never paid us at that point for us doing the work when she should have pulled the trigger and moved forward with the project, and she didn't, so we did. And it's just one of those things that I just look back at this and say, let's just call it what it is. We're assisting this project moving forward. We're always last to be thanked to the table. So it'd be nice to actually say, hey, where's the credit? Or since if we haven't been paid, we can take it off the bill. I mean,
Yeah, we would definitely check with KDOT on that.
yeah. Yeah.
And there again, that study was on the roundabout, right?
That is on the roundabout, different than
that's really
this.
completely different.
Yeah.
From this project, but.
Well, they were all tied together, actually. The traffic impact study included both.
It did.
Yeah, Kirk and Michael, we did assessment of needs for turning lanes at Outlaw and 112, and then we also did the roundabout concept as part of that as well, cost
Okay.
estimating in concept. So it was all tied together.
And LPA, that means.
LPA is the local public authority, in this case it's Fort County, the local government agency.
Got it.
So basically, it's the county contracted Kirk and Michael to do the survey.
Right.
Because at the time, KDOT just couldn't move, and their process couldn't move fast enough to get somebody on board to do surveying.
And we wanted this not to slow down. That was the first step.
Right. It was-
Maybe the governor's still walking down the middle of the road. I seen her on TV walking down the middle of the road, said, I done this, I just wondered what she did do. I'm a big-time Democrat, you can tell.
As it pertains to this project, I don't want to be holding anything up here. I'd make a motion to approve the invoice from Kansas Department of Transportation for the project. Number 56-29, KE 652601.
I'll second that.
With a motion and second. Further discussion, we can go back and
Correct.
continue to address this, and make sure that we get our due.
Right, the final payment will be figured out once the project is completed, so it'd be honestly 2024 sometime before KDOT will actually know what the final cost. Will they owe the county something, just actual project cost, or the county need to contribute more? And so we can include this, the traffic impact study cost in that discussion and get it all sorted out.
I don't see the need to hold this up for that.
Yeah, me either.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I just want to make sure it happens.
Yeah, I'm glad you
Just,
brought that
it's been
I'm
long
glad you
enough.
caught it, because I hadn't thought about it.
Yeah, it's been long enough. I don't know.
Doesn't seem like very long to me, the fast-paced project.
It is fast. That's
All right, I guess, any further questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda ties back to the 113 road resurfacing project. I submitted this additional services authorization. Going back to the December 5th, 2022 commission meeting where we presented bids to resurface the existing pavement that's in place. The commissioners expressed the desire to extend the 4-lane section, which currently ends about 3,400 feet south of Highway 50. Extend that all the way up to Highway 50, which would require modifying the plans. So not only would it be a pavement replacement of what's there from Comanche to Highway 50, but then adding 2 outside lanes for that north 3,400 feet. So there's really multiple parts to this additional services, or call it engineering change order. One would be to, as we discussed in that commission meeting, take the current design, which was to place asphalt pavement, and extend that 4-lane to the Highway 50. The second one would be to put together a secondary set of plans with the concrete pavement alternative, so we could solicit bids for both asphalt and concrete. The third part of that is to the actual work to re-advertise the project to contractors, solicit and process the bids. Since we fulfilled that in the first agreement. And then the last part is to take out the part to put an overlay on Jewel Road from the railroad tracks to the west side of Wright. Take that as a separate bid item, and then also include an alternate to overlay that Angle Road going back to the west along the railroad tracks. And put that as a separate bid item. So there's really like 4 parts to this change order. And I wanted to explain all that in detail and why the cost in it for the change or the additional items comes out to $30,500. So we'll actually end up doing 2 different bids now, one with the 113 road and one for the asphalt work there on Jewel Road and Angle Road.
So I'll make a motion approving the engineering change order for the 113 road resurfacing design as presented.
I second it.
A motion and second, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much, appreciate that.
Thank you, John. Well, you got one more yet.
Got one more, we're just getting warmed up. Now for the good stuff. The third item is the monthly county engineer report. And the first item, I'm gonna actually bring Chris up here, Chris O'Neill, to talk about the pavement maintenance study, which is completed with the assistance of Pete Browning, the county road engineer with the Kansas Association of Counties.
So
So, yep, we worked with Keith Browning as one of the 2 pilot counties to get this program going throughout the state. I submitted the entire report for you guys, we distributed you guys. I was not able to print off and bring the spreadsheet with me. If you happen to dig into that spreadsheet, there's a lot of different pages, a lot of information there on that. But on the report itself, the real meat of it starts on page 8, section 2. And it breaks the asphalt road network down by pavement type, and then it gives the average rating of each of those pavement types. The main one is the cold mix that we have on 194.85 miles of road. The average Payzer rating on those was 5.33. Of our hot mix, we have 25 miles of that, and the average rating on that was 7. And then we also have 7 more miles of a hot mix with a cold mix overlay on top of that, and that was a 5.33 rating. So of the major collector roads, 4.1% are in excellent condition, 3.4% are in very good, 37.3% are in good condition, and 40.5 are in fair condition, 14.7 in poor condition. So the bulk of the major collector roads are cold mix with a sand seal. Major collector road outliers, they include Garnett from 108 to 110, Jewel from 132 to 136, and 113 Road from Comanche to White Earth, which are all hot mix pavement with a cold mix overlay on top of that, which are in good to fair condition. Then the major collector network includes the 25 miles of hot mix pavement with 14.5 miles rated in excellent or very good, 2.5 miles rated good, and 8 miles rated fair. The roads classified as local comprise 14.6 miles of the 228 miles of county road. They are generally cold mix roads that are mostly in fair to good condition. Notable outliers include roads around Buckland and 2 roads that are also on part of the county and city maintenance agreement, East Beeson Street from Mineola Road to Red Avenue, which are cold mix in poor condition. Given the amount of truck traffic on Ford County roads and the predominance of cold mix pavements, structural adequacy across the road network is surprisingly good. Structural adequacy was assessed quantitatively during the windshield inspections by noting any structural distress indicators such as rutting or alligator cracking. The structural adequacy of 204 miles out of the total 228 miles was deemed fair to good, with only minor rutting or alligator cracking noted. So the Payzer ratings were reduced by 1 for the roughness of pavement surfaces. So the structural adequacy across the network is surprisingly good. Many segments are rough. The smoothness of many of these segments is less than desirable. However, the rideability of most segments is as good as can be achieved given the practice of utilizing blade cold mix. The skill of blading a reasonably smooth asphalt patch or overlay is becoming harder to come by as our older workers retire. If the Board of County Commissioners wishes to improve rideability across the road network, the report suggests that an increased budget for contracted hot mix overlays would be needed. Keith did mention that he was impressed with how well the roads held together, the way the ditches were maintained on our asphalt roads. Most of our asphalt roads have a turf shoulder, maybe 1 to 2 foot. Only 113 Road and South 14th from McCarter down to the highway have actual asphalt shoulders. Are there any questions on this report?
Don't read it again.
Chris, you said you were gonna actually update it based on the actions you did last year as well?
Yep, so this, we'll go out every spring and do another windshield survey, and it'll be updated every year, based with actions that we've taken on the prior year, such as McCarter was deemed in poor condition, but we put a cold mix overlay and a seal on that in 2022. So that would raise its rating up. 105 from Saddle down to Wrangler was rated in fair condition, and we sealed all of it in 2022, so it would raise its rating up as well. The rating's also based off of average daily traffic, so McCarter, with the condition it was in, it sees 1,300 cars a day average, so that lowered the rating on it.
Chris had made mention here, losing some institutional knowledge and we got younger operators, inexperienced operators. Is there anything that we can do to increase their knowledge level, their skill level? Is there any kind of schooling or anything that we can be sending these guys to for training that helps here?
There's not anything like through LTAP or anything where they talk about blade lane asphalt. That's just knowledge that's being passed down from our older operators. We've been rotating new operators through as we've been moving along to different projects, trying to help more people get experience doing that when it comes to either overlaying an entire road or doing just the blade patches. Yep. Yeah, there's asphalt maintenance classes, but they speak more on the structure of asphalt, laying it down with a hot mix. A lot of it's about hot mix. When we speak cold mix, it's like a foreign language to them, especially doing it the way we do it.
Is that why you think you got so much in like the fair area?
Yeah.
Because they just probably don't understand that?
Yeah, cold mix does not hold up as well to the truck traffic.
Sure.
Because it's more malleable. It's made to be stored over a longer period of time. Hot mix comes straight from the plant, gets laid down right on the road.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be stored and be able to move it around and work it that way. So that's just one of the trade-offs of the structure of the cold mix. So going forward, that spreadsheet that was part of the report will also help us be able to identify. I'll use that spreadsheet to identify roads that need extra maintenance, and I'll also use just the eye test and the rideability. Such as this year, we're going to go overlay 106 road from Garnett down to Highway 50, just based off this last year, the amount of potholes and blade patches we had to do on it, specifically from Garnett down to Stanley's Feed Yard, has made the ride very rough on that road. So that's one that we've identified to overlay. And then 131 spur north of Buckland is the same way. We're going to overlay that as well.
What's 126 there south of Spearville?
Yeah.
That first mile before you get to Garnett there has gotten awful rough there over the last year. I don't know where it fell on the report there, but it's, you know, you get south of Garnett, I don't know that it's all that terrible down there.
Yeah.
Something about that surface right there just south of the cemetery has really got pretty bad.
Yeah, it did not rate, I had the ones here listed as poor. It didn't fall under poor. I believe it fell under fair.
I don't think there's potholes or anything necessarily. It's just
A couple just north of Jewel on 126, but they're patch spots. But I traveled enough. That cold cold spell didn't do us any good.
Questions?
Did you need any action? on
No,
that?
no action, just purely information. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, a few more items on the engineer's report I was gonna update on. On the off-system Bridge 97, we're about to get the foundation design from our geotechnical company. Once we get that, we can complete the plans and get it ready along with the low water crossing at 127 road for bidding to contractors. At this point,
97 is the 123 road,
134 road.
134.
Yeah,
That's
The church.
Okay,
That's the local bridge, the Kansas Local Bridge Improvement Project.
sorry.
That's right. So that was one we started on in 2022, I think. That's right. Yeah. Actually, it was like 21, I guess. So once we get the foundation design, the piling basically for the bridge, we'll be able to get the quantities in there and finalize the plans for bidding. It's in tandem with the low water crossing on 127 road. At this point, I mean, it looks like before, hoped we were gonna be able to bid those in March, but I think it's gonna push to April. So we'll be a month back, getting the bids put out. The Jewel Road reclamation, I'm talking about the cracks that showed up in that pavement. Chris and I met with APAC back in January and asked for a response on how they were gonna address that by the end of January. Did not receive that response. So I will be following up with them with a little bit more force later this week. Really the only other thing, two things, I guess, on the list I have here. The passing lane projects on Highway 50 in eastern Ford County, northeastern Ford County. They're east of Wright and Spearville. There's two different projects. Those both will be let to bids by KDOT on February 15th, so next week. And we'll find out what the bids are like and who the contractors might be. I did note that KDOT has a latest starting date of March of 2024 on both those projects. And you might guess, just from what I've heard from the amount of workload contractors have, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't start in 2024, start construction. So we'll probably, I'm guessing, a year before we see any dirt moved. And the last item I was just gonna note on is that, you may be aware that the county was approached about a solar farm in the southern part of Ford County, northern part of Ford County. That will be keeping an eye on as they approach the planning and zoning department. One final item, I will be here for the township meeting next week. Don't want to miss my speech that I'm working on. Any questions?
Better bring some good photos,
Good photo, good humor.
good humor.
Cover books.
There's pictures of myself, vacations. And
Yeah, there you go. There's always somebody out there in those photos, they get some pretty good ones.
I need an update on the 123 road project down there, where are we at on
The timber culvert.
Yep, they found some very well put together footings underneath there. And it's a struggle getting them out of there right now. The ground underneath there, it's actually, surprisingly, the water table seems to be pretty high. And the ground is pumping a lot, and those old, that old culvert, when it was put in there, they put a lot of concrete, a lot of rock down underneath there. And I have a picture of one of the footings I can show you that got dumped into the dump truck, and it really put some stress on that dump truck. So that's where they're at right now. He's hoping within this week to get those all tore out of there and then start getting everything down to grade to be able to start putting the pipe in.
it? Okay. Do we have any kind of a time estimate, Chris?
He hopes to have it done the second week of March, after speaking with him this morning.
All right. I think that's all I got. more questions for John?
No?
Thank you for coming, John.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Tell your mom and dad hi for me.
We'll do that.
Next item is for Rutgers Superintendent Chris O'Neill.
So again, so I have just one contract for purchase for interest of real estate for your approval today. This one will be between Ford County and Fisher Cattle. And I'm just seeking approval for the board, for the chairman of the Board of County Commissioners to sign this agreement.
Is that a clean document?
This one is clean, yes.
Can we see it?
Yep.
Pretty good. I don't think you got it, did you?
I think Amy gave it to you.
You guys already looked this over?
It's just, it's the same.
It's just the same that was sent out on Friday, just a clip.
Right.
Thanks, Chris. Thank you.
All right, I would make a motion to approve the purchase agreement between Ford County and Fisher Cattle.
I'll second that.
How about 3JC2 or 2C or D? Did they agree to?
They have signed, but we got a different, we've got an amended document that we want to get cleaned up on that one yet.
I can't hear nothing. The mic's not even working.
So, we did have a signed document, but it was amended. We need to get that cleaned before we proceed with it.
So in other words, it's not going to court, is that what you're saying?
We're hoping not.
Well, it says they agreed to it, I don't know how on there.
They modified their agreement that they signed, and we're not gonna allow them to modify it after we sign
Excuse,
it.
see, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It doesn't say that.
So we're waiting to hear back on that one yet.
Okay. So what do you make a motion to do?
Approve the agreement between Ford County and Fisher Cattle.
And then they didn't change theirs?
They did, but they
They did,
re-signed it.
but they re-signed it clean.
Okay. So Harshburg hasn't done his deal yet, is that right?
It hasn't been,
He's out of town, and he'll be back on Wednesday.
okay.
Well, I hope I'm out of town by Wednesday myself. Okay.
Any
I
further questions or
understand, I
discussion?
understand now, I didn't understand anything that was going on.
Sorry, I wasn't leaning up here to the microphone either, my fault.
Okay.
I'll call the vote.
Well, I second the motion to settle with Fisher Capital.
I'll call a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is from Noxious Weed Director David Nichols.
Hello, David.
Hello, good afternoon. Let's make mine simple, okay? All I'm asking for is your approval of the agreement between the Kansas Department of Transportation and Ford County to spray right-of-ways for noxious weeds for 2023. There has been no changes to this agreement from last year. It's the very same agreement. We filled in the labor costs, equipment rental type and size.
Well, if you agree with it, I make a motion that we approve this agreement between Ford County and the Kansas Department of Transportation. You're, nice what you agree with that deal, I agree.
I would second. Any further discussion?
That's why I get it so easy on
I think it'd go down better if you wear a K-State shirt.
I got 2 out of 3 here.
Playing the numbers, I see. Very smart.
Casino's next.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
it. 7 o'clock?
Thanks for riling them up, Dave.
Sheriff is up next.
Oh, my. Hello, gentlemen. Wow. Quick and easy. The reports, we tabled a couple meetings back. I was able to get the general ledgers in place. The Special Law Enforcement Trust Fund started out the year of January of 2022, $69,416.17, and we ended the year at $97,461.90. You were all provided copies of expenditures in the account, showing where everything was spent on, income, expense, so office supplies, disbursements to the county attorney's office, the district court, office equipment, professional services. So we had total expense $16,957.72 last year out of that line. So, any questions on the state Special Law Enforcement Trust Fund? On that one? Okay. The next one is the Equitable Sharing Agreement Certification. That's the federal one. You got a copy of. Started the year $6,440.62, and ended the year $7,966. So, they had a amount spent for equipment last year, $565.58. Not very much movement or anything on that account. So, complete transparency. They've done away with the reporting requirements of the commissioners, but I prefer at least keeping you all abreast of what's going on with the accounts. It's easier. We have to fill them out online now. We go to the state legislature, so they needed it. Another way of them tracking stuff. Apparently they don't have anything else to do other than put their finger on local government, so.
Well, it would be my bet. If you gotta report it to them, they're trying to figure out a way to get hold of it.
That has been one of their moves, so. Another way to grab. So,
as you can tell, I think the premise was that we're out here making millions of dollars on stuff, and you can attest, seeing the numbers, it's
We're
not there. It's just a misnomer, one side fighting the other side. We're going out about our business, catching criminals, locking bad guys up on occasion. Seem to be getting that perfect, we're putting them in, so, yeah. Anyway, I asked for, I think we put it under Chris's name, he was the chairman last year on this. I don't think it really matters which one of you two signs it.
End of the year.
Yeah, so I think I can, we can, he's got it, I can accept either signature from either one of them, so. Okay, Chris on the one, the federal one, and, yeah, and Chris on the federal one, and then John, I think that you sign the local one. You two are good with that?
Oh, we gotta pass it first.
Yeah.
I'd make a motion to approve the annual state and federal asset forfeiture report.
I second it.
Motion second, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Next item on the agenda is for the invoice for the membership dues for 2023 for the Kansas Natural Resource Coalition. Those are in the amount of $5,000.
Dookie.
I make a motion to approve the 2023 Kansas Natural Resources Coalition membership dues.
I would second the motion. Any further discussion or questions? Just let you know that, I don't know, if you guys get the updates from them there, okay? They should cover that quite a bit. Lesser Prairie Chicken, of course, is back on the board. We're working on that. Also some 30x30 stuff and National Heritage Area stuff for some of our new member counties back in the eastern part of the state. So our new executive director is off and running very well. She's doing a fantastic job. Has really increased the membership, doubled at least since almost 3 times since she took over, so that's good news, so. All right. I'll call a vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Debbie, do you want this one?
I will do that. As the November 2022 election, Lance Spiker was elected Ford Township Clerk. He has declined that position, and we held this back so that I could get a hold of them to find out who was going to run. So there's several motions on here. Jeff Brewer is the township treasurer now. He would like to resign as the township treasurer and be appointed as the township clerk. And then Chambridge Regal Brewer be appointed as the treasurer. I believe that's his wife.
Chambers.
Chambers.
Well, since these are all my relatives, I guess I can do it. I'll vote.
So this is about 4 or 5 part deal here, right?
Right, you'll need to accept the resignation and appoint.
I will make a motion to approve the resignation of Mr. Fiker from the Ford County Township Clerk position.
I second it.
Motion and second, any further discussion? favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to approve the resignation of Mr. Brewer as the Fort Township Treasurer.
I'll second
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to approve the appointment of Mrs. Brewer to the Ford Township Treasurer.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
So make a motion to approve Mr. Brewer for the Ford Township Clerk position.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Did I say Ford County for the treasurer?
You started to, then you corrected yourself.
Okay. Just about replaced Ford.
If they do a bad job, remember, they're not relatives of mine. If they do a bad job, if they do a good job, they're first in line.
Is that it? Executive session?
No, we have one.
Joint meeting, we'll do our joint meeting.
You have the dates there in front of you. We had an update come in earlier this morning from Melissa McCoy that the 7th will not work, so the 8th or the 9th of March are the days that we're looking for the joint meeting.
I will be out of town those 2 days for training. So with your permission, I could use the city's minutes.
I would prefer the 9th, if that's possible.
That is okay with me. That suit you?
Yeah, whatever.
Debbie, do you have a deputy that you can send in?
I may, they've not been trained on the minutes.
Make a motion to approve March 9th, 6:30 PM. At the Ford County Commission's preferred date for the joint city-county meeting.
I second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Upcoming meetings?
Upcoming meetings, we have KEC County Day at the Capitol. It'll be February 9th. At the state capitol, we have NACO Legislative Conference, February 11th through the 14th in Washington, D.C. And the annual township meeting, February 15th at 10:30 a.m. At the Expo Center, the Southwest Kansas Highway Association meeting, that'll be February 16th at 9 a.m. in Garden City. And we have KCM Winter Seminar, February 16th at the Marcus Welcome Center in Wichita. And that's all I have for that.
All right. Last thing we have then is our executive session. I would make a motion that the board recess into executive session to discuss the contract with Decker pursuant to the attorney-client privilege exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act, KSA 154319D2. Meeting to open the open meeting to resume in this location.
Jeff Carr said 5 minutes. You said that earlier.
Let's resume, we'll resume this location at 5 o'clock. In addition to the commissioners, the county administrator, sheriff, and the county counselor should be included in the executive session.
Second.
Motion second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are back from executive session. We have no action at this time. I would make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Did we discuss all the upcoming meetings?
We did.
Okay, we're good. Sorry, my mind's running.
You can get with the administrator and go after those again after the meeting.
I got it in print. Okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, who made the motion?
Tacit,
It don't matter.
motion.
Can we call yours a second?
Sure.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye. I'll rewrite it.